Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Oh, 30 books in 30 weeks. Almost to the end of our journey in week 29. Oh my gosh, I can't even hardly believe it. I know I say that like every single day, but every day that I get on here to share a thought with you guys, it occurs to me that we're almost to the end of this journey together. Um, Ready for the next chapter, right? That's exciting. So today, this week, we're talking about this book, Journey to Find Your Butterfly Potential. It's the second edition of my very first book that I wrote back in 2014. I shared with you guys on the video yesterday that my heart is in here, my soul is in here. If you ever wanted to know me, read this book. It will enlighten you, it will educate you, it will inform you. It will definitely give you an insight that you probably can't get anywhere else, as far as who I am, what I believe in, what moves me, the things that have shaped me in my life. So definitely sharing this book is sharing a piece of my soul with the readers, and in sharing it then with you guys for 30 books in 30 weeks, certainly sharing it with all of you as well. So today's message is really about finding the voice for the invisible girl, and I'm going to expand on what that means and what that meant to me as the invisible girl, what that looks like, how it manifests itself in different ways in our lives. And so as you guys are coming in, feel free to share the video out. If you're catching it on the replay, either on YouTube, LinkedIn, one of my other platforms, by all means, I thank you for making the investment to share some of your day with me. If you're coming in for the very first time, my name is Marcy Batiste. I'm the Ultimate Power Coach. I'm America's #1 reality-based success and recovery trainer. Live life on Mars. I'm sold out to my happiness and being the spark that ignites the light for someone else to discover and embrace their star power is what excites me, moves me, and keeps me going. Being able to share things like this with you all inspires me. It reminds me that everyone's story makes a difference to someone. And I was talking to a potential client the other day, and he said to me, he said I have a story. And I said, everyone has a story. Even the people who don't realize that they have a story have a story. And so I always encourage clients to definitely share your story, share your experiences, share what your growth process looks like, because your story, your trials, your tribulations, your stumbling blocks, and how you've been able to overcome them. Hey, Frederick, is a resource for someone. There's somebody out there who needs your message in order to get through whatever it is they're going through. And so, one of the things that I fully and wholeheartedly believe is that that survival is a responsibility. And so once you've come through something, there's a level of obligation and social responsibility to reach out and help someone else be able to get through something. It may be something different than what you've gone through, but certainly your experience in overcoming challenges, overcoming obstacles, can always be a resource that someone else can utilize. So I encourage people to share their stories, share their experiences from a place of truth and transparency. I don't think that you can truly connect with someone unless you're willing to be 100% authentic. And for the work that I do, that requires immense transparency. So there's not a whole lot about me that I'm not willing to share with my clients, because if I want them to go all in, I got to be willing to go all in for them. Hey, Frederick, God bless you as well. Thank you so much. So jumping into today's message about finding the voice for the invisible girl, I want to talk to you guys about what and who that represents and how that fits into a caterpillar lifestyle. I shared a little bit on the video yesterday introducing the book about the life cycle of the butterfly, and certainly we all know that all butterflies start out as caterpillars. And so I want you to think and visualize what your opinion of a caterpillar is. Most people discard caterpillars. They're discounted long before it even, like we discount them and brush them aside on the side of the road or on the side of the sidewalk without ever thinking that somewhere inside there is a butterfly. But yet when we see a butterfly, it is admired, it's respected for its beauty. We're enamored by butterflies, but we're disgusted by caterpillars. And what I want everyone to see, and why this book is so important, is because so many of us are living as caterpillars. So many of us feel like the caterpillar's story is our story. It's our world. Hey, Anthony. But we forget that somewhere inside that caterpillar is a butterfly that's waiting to come out. And so I want to share with you guys a little bit of my story from my childhood, growing up as a daddyless daughter. One of the conversations I had with an individual a few weeks ago was talking about how I'm teaching men how to raise daughters, right? And interestingly enough, what I shared with that individual is that whether as a father, whether you're present or you're absent, you're teaching your daughter, teaching her how to receive love, you're teaching her how to and what to expect from love. And so, because a father's love is going to be a daughter's first love, whether it's there, whether it's healthy, whether it's toxic, no matter what that's comprised of, it becomes part of her history. And so as a daddyless daughter, my father was completely absent in my life. He still is as an adult. He's never even acknowledged me to be his child for a long time. That hurt so deeply. And I told myself so many stories about what that meant about me, that he didn't want to be in my life. And I stuffed all those feelings down. I didn't know how to process them. I didn't know what all those feelings and what all those emotions meant. What I did realize was that, or what I told myself was that, if your own father doesn't want you, doesn't love you, denies you, then certainly no one else is going to want you, love you, or desire you, or care for you. And therefore, in turn, your value is zero. And that was one of the first things where I learned to put on a mask and say, doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. Screw him. And it wasn't until I came out of a domestic violence, physically a violent relationship, that I was forced to go back and really deal with some of those thoughts and those feelings and those emotions, and understand how those early tracks, I'm talking about 3-4 years old, affected decisions I was making as a 40-year-old, right? And so there were so many times, and I have a keynote address that I do called Voiceless to Victorious, where I talk about all these different places in my life where I wasn't able to find my voice. And I talk about how it feels to be 400 pounds and invisible, right? And how I didn't want to have a voice. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want people to know me, to recognize me. I didn't even know how to be heard, but the thought of being heard terrified me. And I think that I know that there are a lot of people out there who feel that same way, where you have a story, your story needs to be told, but you're not really comfortable being heard. You're not really comfortable being seen. And it's kind of like the caterpillar, where the caterpillar is there, but even the caterpillar doesn't realize its potential to become a butterfly. And so many times when we're afraid to use our voice, hey Lenora, when we're afraid to use our voices, it's because we're afraid of being heard. We want to be heard. We think to be seen, but the thought is terrifying. Just like the caterpillar, and there's a saying that just as how does it go? Just as the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. And those transformations happen sometimes, you guys, once you're doing the work and you're putting in the energy and the effort to understand how you think and how your thoughts affect your emotions, how your emotions transfer into certain behaviors, and those behaviors and thoughts and emotions all combined to become your belief systems. And you have to learn to challenge all of those things, those tracks. I had to challenge the track that I laid as a 4-year-old little girl when my dad came, I thought, to see me, and he stepped over me literally on the stairs and went upstairs, started a fight with my mother, came back downstairs, stepped over me again, and I'm running behind this car like, Daddy, no, don't forget me. Daddy, wait. Daddy, please don't leave. Please don't leave. And watching his car drive off, right? How all those things affected my ability to use my voice. So here I am, 4 years old, running down the street after my daddy's car, just wanting him to acknowledge me, I just wanted him to see me, I just wanted him to hear me. And he couldn't hear me, and he discarded me, just like the caterpillar. He didn't see that there was value. He didn't see that there was any potential in me. And so I internalized that to say there is no potential in me. I internalize that too. I don't have a voice. I internalize that to say, if I have a voice, no one wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear my story. And so many of us are like that. And I promise you, if you're feeling that way, that's not the case. That's not the case. There are people who want to hear your story. There are people who need to hear your story. Your voice is valuable. You do deserve to be heard. You do deserve to be seen. And, you know, it's unfortunate that oftentimes we don't understand that when we discard someone as unworthy, or we toss them to the side to indicate that they don't have value, that lasts a lifetime. It's not just for that moment. It's not just that, because you don't know if you're the only person that's discarded them or if that's repetitive. You don't know how many times they felt unwanted, unloved, unworthy. No matter how many times they wanted to be heard and couldn't be heard. No matter how many times they wanted to share their voice but just couldn't find their voice. You don't know how many times. And sometimes that one time that you take the moment to just listen, you take the moment to hear someone, to truly see somebody beyond the surface. I want you to look for the butterfly beyond the caterpillar that you see, because they have a story. There's something there. There's value there. There's life there. There's a story there. You know, I look at homeless people on the street, and that's a perfect analogy for it, that caterpillar, because somewhere inside that homeless person, there's a story about how they got there. They didn't start out that way. Their life didn't start homeless. Very few of us start out homeless. But hundreds and thousands of people every single year end up that way. How is that? What is their story? But yet we walk past them, we brush past them, we discard them to the side, just like the caterpillar, forgetting that somewhere in between and inside that, what we see, that vessel that we see, there's a life, there's a story, there's value, and that just maybe they can teach you something. And that's why it's important for us to make the investment, to take the time to find our voices, to listen to other people's stories, to get invested in your journey, get invested in your success. Don't let the tracks that were laid. If I had not found my voice from when I was 4 years old, if I had let those tracks stay as they were, had I not wound up in an physically abusive relationship, I still may never have found my voice. I still may not have found it. And so I share with you guys, domestic violence probably saved my life because it forced me to go back and find out and figure out all of these points along the way where I didn't feel like I had a voice. All these points along the way where I thought I was invisible, where I didn't want to be seen, I didn't want to be heard, I didn't think I had value. And then now to have written multiple books, to become a public speaker, to become a coach for other people, to be able to share my story. I don't say all that because of me. I say all that to say that if I can do it, that little daddyless daughter crying on the stairs, running down the street after her father's car, if she can do it, if she can find her voice, if she can find value, so can you. It's there, I promise you. But you have to be willing to do the work. Find your voice. Don't be the caterpillar. There's a butterfly inside you just waiting for you to express it. So that's my message for today. I hope, beyond all hope, that you guys found something in this message today that would inspire you, or maybe inspire someone you know, and that you'll share the video out. But as always, I appreciate you guys for being part of the Ultimate Power Team and living life on Mars with me every single day. Have a wonderful afternoon. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.